Hi, my name is Dan Keane from Spitfire Audio. Today I'm going to be giving you a very quick walkthrough of our Epic collection, which is part of the spring sale that enables you to save 50% off on the collection of Albion 1, eDNA Earth, and Hans Zimmer percussion. And in case you're not familiar with this collection, it's really about creating those epic blockbuster type scores. Think Tenet, Avengers, things like that. Often uses very large orchestras, which we've got here, 109-piece orchestra in Albion 1, but then also you need the tension, the momentum, the pace that you get from Hans Zimmer percussion, but also from the eDNA Earth library, which is a decade's worth of samples that have been sort of mangled and warped to create interesting textures with over 1,000 presets, 1,001 to be precise. Let's begin with Albion 1, and this is really your epic starter kit. It's got a huge orchestra, as I mentioned, 109-piece orchestra, recorded in the hall at Air Studios, and as many of you will know, this is the room where many of these blockbuster scores were recorded, often with the same players, and in this case we just get a massive sound, and if I play these low octave shorts, so these are played an octave apart with the cellos and the basses, and you can particularly hear the hall with the pizzicatos as well. Next, I'm going to show you the string Consordino legatos. We rarely get Consordino legatos these days in libraries, but I really love these octaves high. So you get a really beautiful expression there, and because it's in octaves and it was recorded in such a way, you get this beautiful sweeping line that you can have over the top of the orchestra when you've got lots happening underneath. It kind of stays clear of dialogue, sound effects, things like that in a really beautiful way. Moving on to the short staccato combination, a mixture between spiccato and staccato that gives you the bitey edge of the spiccatos with the sustain of the staccatos. Really biting edge there. Let's move on to the woodwinds. This is one of my favourite patches. This is the Woods High Arranged. Works really nicely in chords. And as you can hear, a really wide dynamic range as well. While we're staying in the high notes here, I thought I'd show you the brass high longs. And so the fortissimo really bites through, which, as you can imagine, helps with this particular kind of epic scoring sound. In addition to the orchestra, Albion 1 also features a hugely diverse set of synthesized elements as well. This is one of my favorites, controllable by the mod wheel. This is Observing Aliens. There's a tension there that you can hear. It works really well in the lower registers as well. That could be a cue in and of itself. Moving on, this is the Stevenson's Marimbarium, and this is a really lovely kind of organ sound. But of course, within each preset, you can really go in and dial in your mix to your liking. As you can see, using the mod wheel, we're basically blending between two different elements, and you can choose which elements are included. In this case, we've got the main hard elements, and then the softer padded sound. So when you combine them together, you get this nice wash. Moving on through, this is one of my favourites as well, Chugging Wind it's called. And this is great just for building that tension. You could use this as ear candy underneath your orchestrations, things like that. And also there are these fantastic Easter Island hits, which I just had to talk about because they are just so huge. In fact, if I just bring this Chugging Wind back in, you can hear there that using the percussion in line with the synthesized elements, that's only 2 patches, but it creates a huge bed of sound. So eDNA Earth is really taking that step further, using the original samples and then mangling them, warping them to create even more strange, eerie textures. And this is one of my favorites. This is the brass and rhythm, and you can use the mod wheel with this as well. And that slightly undulating pitch just really helps to add to the tension. Moving on, we've got this choir and bass laser pulsar, which I like. Moving down through the library, this ethereal pad is really great just for building up texture. Now, I thought I'd include this instrument, the Feels Like 8-Bit synth, just because it's got a character to it that I really like. It's very bold. I don't know what orchestral or organic material this came from, but it's a world of its own. Epic Chamber is an interesting one because in it you can hear the chamber strings kind of vibe, but it's also been a very kind of concentrated, filtered sound. But a dark sound as well. Flimsy Frostbite is an interesting one because I can imagine it working really well underneath a piano or percussive element. Works really well for those long sustains as well. Moving on to the final instrument in this collection is, of course, Hans Zimmer percussion, and this is a massive, massive library. So I thought I'd start with the taikos, which are the really, really low drums. So you can really hear the sense of the room there. In fact, if I pull the close mics down, but pull the room up, You can feel that sense of space, but also this is a very tonal sound. You could probably filter these out, turn it into a low kind of sub-hit. And then of course we've got our surround microphones as well. These are the ambient mics that are positioned right at the very back of the room, which when combined with the close microphones, you get that sense of space, but you also get the kind of immediacy of the attack. Next, these darbukas are really interesting because they bite through any mix. You know, they really cut through. But also, as you can hear there's a lot that you could do to help build up some momentum as well. I can imagine this going really, really nicely under one of those padded synths. There are some controls in here as well. You can add a bit more boom, which sort of rolls off the top end a little bit, and then this crack kind of brings that up. And finally, the low boom gallery. This is one of those sounds that you'll hear on loads of scores. But if you hit it really quietly, there we go, just a quick whistle-stop tour of the Epic collection. Loads of really interesting sounds in there that you can use to get started with writing blockbuster-style scores, from the huge orchestra through to the thundering synths, through to the more kind of interesting momentum-building tension beds, things like that. So if you're interested to pick up this collection, as I say, you can save 50% off via the website, links down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done already. And if you want to be notified the next time we put a video up, just hit that little bell icon. See you again very, very soon. Goodbye.